Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. A good Monday evening to y'all. It's an exciting week. We only have 9 days until Big Brother 24 starts. Between now and then, we've got cast reveal, house reveal. It's favorite time of the year. Christmas, pretty exciting too, but favorite time of the year. So, as we start off, big old SKD 143. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love all the other reality TV fans out there, especially fans of Big Brother, and even more so those of you all who are out here watching either live this evening, Monday night, or watching on replay as well. I appreciate both of y'all, all of y'all. Thank you so much. If you get a chance, you haven't done so already, go out and subscribe to my channel. Turn on notifications, especially as Big Brother's kicking off, right? Who knows when I'll be dropping episodes. I'll be dropping a lot because I'm planning to do the live feeds, overnight feed recaps again. So turn on notifications, and if you can give me a little thumbs up or arrow up, that's always cool as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I wasn't so certain and I was going to be able to be out here this evening, guys. And you may even catch it in my voice a little bit. Been a little difficult in the Hog household. I may have tested positive for COVID as of yesterday. Yeah, 2.5 years. 2.5 years I was successful in keeping that thing away from me. No problems, no issues at all. Had a work-related matter on Tuesday, found out I'd been exposed to someone who tested positive. Sure enough, come Friday morning or so, I started feeling bad. I spent all weekend coughing and sleeping and sneezing, horrific sore throat, just about lost my voice as I talk about it. Still not feeling fantastic, but it's only 9 days until Big Brother starts. I couldn't come out here or I couldn't not do the show, right? I had to come out and talk a little Big Brother. So I don't know. We'll see how long it goes. The show must go on, right? As Queen and a whole lot of other people say, the show must go on. But I don't know if it'll go on for the entire hour. We may shut it down a little bit early. We'll see. But I've got my tissues. I've got my cough drops. I got some good old Dr. Pepper. So I'm going to do what I can to keep up because we got to talk a little Big Brother. I hope y'all are doing fantastic out there. Let me see who all we got. Joshy P, I know you were out here earlier than everyone else. Welcome aboard. Am I going to be doing another Cliff Notes Live next Monday on the 4th of July? I'm planning on it, unless this thing kicks me in the rear a lot worse than it is right now. But yeah, even though being the 4th and all of that, I'll put aside the fireworks for a little bit so we can talk a little bit next Monday. So yeah, that's absolutely the plan. So howdy, Joshy P. Brian, hey, how are you doing, Brian? Hope you're doing well. Paula Scar, Bing Bong, hey, howdy, back to you as well. Ma, hold on, I just lost the feeds. All right. I will see how this goes. This is a little interesting. All right. Brian, Paula, Bing Bong, Ma saying cast reveal on Thursday. I hadn't heard that, but that sounds reasonable. We'll talk about that in a second. XX Typhoid, Maryland Southern. Man, all my friends, I hope y'all are doing great. Mark Taylor. Yeah, we'll talk Big Brother a little bit on that. Angie Hung as well. Hey, Angie. I know Angie's doing all her workouts and things like that normal Monday nights, so I'm happy to see you out there as well. This is going to be a fun one, guys. Keith Rankin, Andy W., Kitchen Gadgets Queen. All right, now there's a login ID for you. Kind of makes me want to ask what kind of kitchen gadgets are you recommending? That sounds pretty good. Jake the Horror Movie Geek, Chaz, Elisha, and to catch all of them? I think so. I hope so, because I got to take a big old drink right now. That's what I was worried about. It hadn't been too bad until I start talking. Now, fortunately, today I kind of worked. I mean, I did a lot of work, but I did a lot of email instead of telephone calls. And that worked okay. Speaking like this, maybe a little bit tougher. Oh, man, it's going to be a lot tougher. That's so horrific. I'm sorry, guys. I think that's one good thing about being in the Big Brother house. We were all isolated away from everything else, so there was very little illness inside the Big Brother house. I know during my season we had 1 or 2 little outbreaks, but I think it had a little more to do with food poisoning than anything else. I remember Jessica from my season had worked in some food prep stuff earlier in her life, and she told me at one point, she said, man, that's some of the things these guys are doing, leaving some of the food outside to thaw all day long, is just horrible. And so, yeah, it didn't surprise any of us that we had some foodborne illnesses while we were in there as well. All right, well, we may shut this down a little bit earlier, guys, because y'all don't want to be hearing that. But we'll try. All right, so let's just get right into it. Yeah, we're going to talk about Big Brother 24. And Chaz F, we understand if we can't do the show today. I appreciate it. And I know y'all would. I could have put something out there, but here's the thing. I'm not out here I'm out here because I know y'all are out here wanting to watch the show as well. But I'm out here because I'm excited about the Big Brother, and this is my chance to talk about it and everything. We haven't gotten a lot of information, but we've gotten a little bit. So before we talk about that, let's talk about on this day in history, and it is Big Brother related. On this day in history, in 1995, my son Daniel was born. Such a joyous day. 3 greatest days in my life. The day my son Daniel was born, the day my daughter Kelly was born, and the day I married my beautiful, beautiful bride Sharon. Everything was perfect with those 3 dates. So on this day in 1995, Daniel was born. And yes, it was Big Brother related because I think I was the first person that got to celebrate a birthday during my season inside the Big Brother house. And it was fun, first of all. And I don't know if y'all remember, but I spelled out Happy B-Day Dan 143. It's the first time I didn't say SKD 143. I just put the 143. But it's the first time I think that I used 143 while I was in the house. But I did that on a black t-shirt using white rice because we weren't allowed to write on anything. And so I kind of got around the rules, and they Big Brother let me do it because I wasn't sending coded messages or anything like that, I guess. But I celebrated his birthday, and I was excited to do it, first of all, just because it gave me a chance to mention his name and talk about him on TV in front of the cameras, in front of everyone else, and that was always nice. But also, if y'all don't remember, I was on the block that week. Sam had just won the veto competition. I was really wanting to try to get him to use a veto on me. My life was on the line. So having my son's birthday that particular day gave me a fantastic opportunity to do just a little manipulating, pull on a few heartstrings, and really try to get people to see kind of the human me, the family guy me, and all that. So yeah, it worked out pretty well. Who knows? If I hadn't had a birthday to celebrate that week, maybe I would have made up a 3rd kid or something because it needed it that week. But now I remember before. Here's the thing. Everyone in Big Brother 24 should be in sequester right now. Isn't that cool? I remember while I was in sequester, one of the questions one of the press people had asked me, they said, how long is it going to take you before you cry for the first time in the house? And I said, my son's birthday's on the 27th. I'm sure it'll happen then. And sure enough, I got in there, especially when I felt like a little bit of a threat to get booted out of the house. It meant a lot. I'd already been sequestered and then in the house for a week or so. So I already was missing him a lot. And it was great to be able to celebrate his birthday while he's in the house. So anyway, happy birthday to Daniel. Celebrating again today. And I'm so happy that I've got him as my son. And Moss saying, who's older, Kelly or Daniel? Kelly's the first. She's the oldest by a couple of years. And then Daniel came along behind her. So yeah, that's hence the S, the K, and then the D. All right. We may do this for another 5 minutes, so that may be it. All right, Bing Bong Sam. Saw the tweet Kat made about you and her on The Amazing Race. That got a chuckle out of me. Yeah, I laughed about that. I know they're casting for Amazing Race. And Kat posted a little deal from the veto competition, OTEV, where she and I were fighting for that rope. And then she started crying so much when she beat me. And I just remember sitting there thinking, oh my God, if one of us doesn't win this thing, one of us is going home. And I really wanted to work with her at the time. And so I just wanted her to try to just, stop worrying about me and just play cutthroat and win like she'd done a few weeks earlier when she won the Haunting of Caitlin Herman veto. It wasn't to be, and that meant that she and I had to go up against each other, and that was horrific. But yeah, I think Kat and I would have a lot of fun racing around the world. I don't know. We'd have a lot of fun doing it. I don't know that we'd win. We'd probably drive each other crazy at times, but it would be a lot of fun. It's probably going to go viral at this point or something. Anyway. All right, what else are we going to talk about? Because I'm going to have to shut it down. I just can't do it. All right. First of all, the only real rumors that we've heard from Big Brother so far this year, I think, now, Mom mentioned the cast reveal on Thursday. That'd be great. I'm looking forward to it. But other than that, 82 days for this season. That's 2 weeks shorter than my season. Isn't that something? They're starting up a couple of weeks late. They're going to finish up, I think, within about a day of when I finished up my season. So how do you go from 99 days, shorten it to 82? Well, one, maybe you've got more than one double eviction. A couple of double evictions, you could do it. Maybe you get rid of the battle back. Let me put this out there. I don't know if we're ever going to see a pre-jury battle back ever again. I may have been the very last one, because I'm not sure Big Brother going forward is going to want to have someone sequestered for a couple of weeks somewhere else, waiting just for the chance to maybe not get back in a game. I think going forward, anytime they do a battle back, it's going to be post-jury. So it'll just be people who are already in the jury house anyway. Probably the first 4 will get to compete. One person comes back, and then you play it like that. That's my thinking. But this season, they may get rid of the battle back. They may get a couple of double evictions. The third thing I've thought about is what if they kind of compress those last 2 weeks of the season? Because really, when it was Final Four down to the very end, it is so boring. There's nothing to do in that house. Very few conversations to be had. You really could compress that whole thing into a week. Boot the 4th place person, have the competitions, boot the 3rd place person a few days later, and a few days later have the finale. That would save a week as well. I think we could see something like that. I truly do. So I don't know. I do know this, because it's only 82 days. I was in the house for 92 days, so I'm still going to have been in the house longer than anyone who shows up on this particular season. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm okay with that. But we'll see. It is a little bit shorter, and Survivor has gotten shorter as we've gone through the years. Big Brother Canada is shorter. And I got to say, when I went into that house, I remember thinking 99 days, that is a god-awful long period of time. Ma is saying 82 is the shortest season yet. Is it? I'm not sure if that's the all-time shortest season as compared to some of the old school first seasons, but I could be wrong. I really don't know one way or the other, but it's definitely shorter than mine. All right. Let's see. Let me do a couple of questions. Then maybe we just call it. Mark's Taylor says, Julie Chen coming back? As far as I know, we've seen her do a few teasers on Instagram, right? She's done a few poses with the logo, and one where she's looking up into the air, and she asks people, do you or look for clues or whatever. I don't know. We don't know what the theme is. I've heard little things. It's going to be like desert festival. I don't trust anyone. And there's all these fake cast reveals. If you see a cast reveal out there, don't believe it. There's so many fake ones going on right now, and some people post them intentionally knowing they're fake, but then someone else doesn't realizes it, and they repost it, and before you know it, they're all sitting out there. But yeah, I know as well as anyone Julie Chen's coming back. She wouldn't be promoting it if she wasn't, so she'll be back. As far as who the cast is going to be, I've heard this talk before about coaches. Maybe they'll have some returning coaches or something. I don't know. I got to say, with the COVID and all that, there was a small part of me that thought, well, maybe I just don't do the show and post say, sorry, guys, I'm not going to be able to do it tonight. Just to get those rumors going, get people talking. I reach out to a few of those folks, and next thing you know, they would have all been talking about me going on the show as a coach or something else. Nah, it ain't going to happen. I'm here to watch. I'm here to talk about it. But I've heard that rumor. As far as the cast, I've heard a little squeaking here and there. I would not be surprised. Y'all remember Christy from last year? Not Christy from my season, but Christy, the alopecia model who I guess she caught, speaking of COVID, caught COVID, tested positive right before the show started. So she couldn't do it. So Claire went on instead. It would not surprise me if she came back this season, because we had that a little bit. Who was Big Brother Canada? Was it Mark? I can't remember if that's his name now. A guy who was rumored to be on last year's season. He didn't make it on, but it became a big joke that everyone thought he was supposed to be on last season. And so kind of as a, reward or to make it interesting, they brought him on this season. I could see him bringing Christy on since she tested positive last year and has stayed involved with the Big Brother community. And I'd be okay with that. I'm curious to see. Feel like I see her as much as the Big Brother 23 people in terms of Instagram and social media and all that. I'd really be curious to see how she plays the game. So we'll see. Now, if she did come back, and I don't have any reason, I don't know anything more. This is just guess on my part. But if she did come back, it'd be a little bit tougher because everyone else who's coming in there, assuming they're just regular old normal, no one's normal that goes on Big Brother, newbies that come in the house, they're all probably going to know about her. Most of them will know about her if they're Big Brother fans. So they'll have a little bit of an edge up on her because they'll know about her. She won't know about them. I'd still like to see how she played the game, but I'm so ready. Oh my gosh. When they announce when the cast is, I'll be glued to the TV watching those interviews. I assume they'll do it like they've done in years past. One at a time, they'll bring them out for the interviews, and I'll be checking them and saying, "Yeah, I'm cheering for you," or "Yeah, probably not." And I'll be wrong on half of them, which is part of the fun. Kyle, thank you, Chris. Yeah, I was saying Mark or what David Wire said. Yeah, it was Kyle that was the Big Brother candidate came in. So yeah, we'll see. But that's what makes it exciting, waiting for this. But anticipation wise, I'm ready. It's, my season, we were already in the house by now. We'd already been in the house for a little over a week. So yeah, I'm ready to get this Big Brother game started. Chaz is asking, would you prefer somebody to go home on the first night or everyone to be there for a week first? Absolutely be there for a week first, because if you send someone home on the first night, you either do it one of two ways. It's either purely random. You have some competition, and the first person to fail or something happens that someone just randomly goes home, which is hard. I don't want anyone to go home based on one competition, one random occurrence, however it may work out. Or they go home on night one because someone had to make an instantaneous snap decision about who they wanted to keep, who they wanted to send home. The group has to vote based on that. And I don't like that because it forces people, in my opinion, it forces people to make decisions based on very superficial things, who they may feel like they have the best connection with. And then you bring up issues of age, regional locality, ethnicity, all these things that are not good ways to decide who you should or shouldn't want to work with. So no, I would much rather have no one go home on the first night, let everyone get a chance to play the game for a week, to build up their social value, social credit, to develop relationships, to make people upset, however it goes. But at least after a week, there's much more. It's much more either your fault or your credit whether you survive or go home. When it's night one, sometimes there's people who don't have a chance. Look at me. Being the old guy, I knew if there was a night one eviction that it very easily could have been me. And I stand by that. I got lucky in that there were actually 4 of us picked, and that I happened to do well enough in the competition that I didn't get sent home. But if it had just been a straight up vote or something else, it could have been me on that one. So now I don't like those at all. I want it to be a full week, and then we start playing the game. We all deserve it. Everyone who goes in that house deserves at least that week to show what they've got and show what they can do. My opinion. I hope that's the way it goes this year. Now, I have heard it's going to be a live move-in, which is cool. It's going to be a 90-minute show on that first night. Hopefully, we get the live feeds right after the move-in, or at least within a few hours after the West Coast feeds and all of that. Here's to hoping, because I want to see everything that develops in that first little bit. All right, a couple of real quick things, and we may shut down because I really this is tough. We had some questions for the last few weeks that they came in at the end of the show. I didn't have a chance to really read over them and give full credit to them. So I was just going to mention a couple of questions for the last couple of weeks, and then we may call this thing a little bit earlier. But I had Misfire had asked a question, it may be last week or two, saying, what did I consider to be my funniest DR moment while I was in the house? And I think I got 2 of them, Misfire, that I'll always remember, maybe 3. That I always remember in that house. One of the first DR sessions I ever did, they got in there and they said, Cliff, how are you going to survive in here? You've already gotten picked for banishment and fought your way back in. How are you going to survive in here? But I told a little story about playing possum. I said, I'm just going to lay down, play possum, play dead, and let them move on, find bigger targets than me. They said, oh, possums lay down? I said, yeah, they lay down on the couch like this. And I laid on the couch. And as I started to get back up, Big Brother over the speaker said, "Nah, stay there, Cliff. Tell us how you want to play possum." And so I had a lot of fun doing that very first diary room session, laying there saying, Mr. Possum, just leave me alone. I'm not bothering anyone. And that's the first time I don't know. I don't even remember if that was my very first diary session. It was one of the very first. But that's the first time that I kind of had fun with Big Brother and with the questions they were asking me and everything else. So that's always going to stand out as one of my fun moments in the diary room. The other one may be after the battle back competition when I fought my way back into the house. And as soon as I get back in, Mickey and Holly grabbed me over in the storage room. And they're trying to convince me that this was all part of their grand master plan. And, oh, we wanted this, Cliff. You had the much better chance of winning battle back than Nicole did. And that's why we went ahead and voted to send you out, because we didn't want either one of you to go home. And such a load of beans. I knew it. And right after that conversation, Big Brother called me into the diary room. And I remember just incredulous. And I don't even remember what I said in the session, but I remember them saying, "So Cliff, Mickey and Holly said this was part of a plan." And I remember just saying, yeah. I think that's where there's a little meme out there of me going, "Yeah, right." Because I kind of went off at that point. I spouted off a little bit, said, "Yeah, those guys, they think I'm an idiot if they think I believe that." And I probably talked for a whole lot longer than they even showed in a diary room session, because I was a little hot under the collar after that conversation. But I do remember that. And then probably the third funny one was just after I won the battle back. And then I turned around and won the HOH. And I remember the Big Brother speaker, because, again, we don't see anyone in the diary room. You just have this voice coming out of a speaker talking to you. I remember the voice saying, "Cliff, you just don't understand how rare it is that someone wins a battle back and wins HOH all in the span of just a few hours." And I remember sitting there saying, no, I get it. I'm incredibly excited. I'm incredibly happy. I get it, and I'm all for it, guys. I'm right there with you. So yeah, those were some of the fun moments I remember inside the diary room. Those things were tough. You never knew when you went in to do a diary room session. It could just be a little 2-minute session where they just had one or two questions that they wanted to ask you and try to get a little sound bite or something. And then there were others, like after BB Comics, that you would just go in there for hours at a time, and they'd ask questions about every single comic and the characters, and you just knew that you were going to be in there forever and a day. And it was just a grind. But there's sometimes you go in there and it's just more fun. They just wanted to get some funny little stuff going, and that's where I did some of my before the wife jokes up. That was another funny thing. The first time I did that, and I could hear someone laughing in the background, and I thought, all right, well, I guess that got someone's attention, tickled someone's funny bone. So yeah, we did a lot of diary room sessions during the thing. Chaz is saying, how would you feel if a longtime Cliff Notes subscriber made it into the house but was a villain? And that's fine with me. I have got no problems with villains. They asked me when I was doing my little pre-interview, whatever, would you rather win and be hated or lose and be loved? Well, I'm still choosing. I want both, but I'd still choose to win and be a little more hated. I think at the time I said, 500,000 buys a whole lot of don't give a dams. And I believe that to some extent. Now, don't be a villain just to be a villain, right? I mean, you don't have to be nasty and mean just because that's who you are. But if it is, well, then so be it. But it's a cutthroat game. There's nothing. You don't get awards for wearing the halos when you play Big Brother. So no, if they won, or even if they didn't win, if they just got in the house and they were the villain of the house, that's all right. I mean, yeah, I've always said you separate the game from the person, and I would do that if someone was watching Cliff Notes. Hopefully they'd shout out, give me a little shout out while they're in there and all of that. But yeah, if they get in there and they're mean and the American public hates them and all that, well, you know what? That's okay. I'm still gonna be happy that they watch Cliff Notes, and I'm still gonna want to touch bases with them and everything else. You got to play your game, and you've got to be who you are. And if you're the kind of person that ends up becoming a little bit of a villain, hopefully you don't do it in real life. But whatever your strengths and advantages are when you're in a house, use them. And if your strengths and advantages are being mean and snappy and and backstabbing everything else. You do what you got to do. A lot of people, when I was in the house, thought that I would never lie or betray or anything else. And it's not that I wasn't willing to do so. It's just I never really saw a lot of opportunities to do it. It got to the point where my trustfulness was getting me a lot of traction and helping me go forward in the game. And so I really had to focus on that. But going in, I said I'm going to be flexible. And if I have to just absolute lie and become an evil person, well, then so be it. At the end of the day, I just didn't find it within myself. But yeah, I'm okay. It takes all types to play the Big Brother game. I would just be so happy to see someone that watches Cliff Notes or the overnight feeds or any of the stuff I do out there. If they watched it and then they got in the house, that'd be incredible. It'd be so much fun. So if you're, well, they aren't watching now because they're in sequester, but if you're out of the house and now you're watching this on repeat and that's you, give me a call. Let me know. All right, Angie. Some villains are loved like Darth Vader. Yeah, that's right. Difference between a game villain and actually a bad person. Absolutely. I took the words out of my mouth. You can be, and I think most of us understand the difference between the two, right? You can be the most evil person in the game, and then when you get out, it's just it's different. And then other people, and I'll give you an example of that, throwing out names. I've met a lot of people from Big Brother and Survivor and a lot of reality shows in the 2.5 years since I've been out. 3 years now, I guess. 2.5 years. And for the most part, the people that got out, pretty nice people. I gotta say it. But there are some people that were considered kind of villains in their game. And when they got out, they're the friendliest people in the world. So yeah, it's the way you play the game, and I'm okay with it. But you're right, Angie. Sometimes people love cheering on the villain. What's that thing they say? No, there's no such thing as bad PR. Well, I don't believe that in the day and age in social media. I don't believe that at all. But there's people in Big Brother and in Survivor who are famous because they're villains. If they weren't villains, we wouldn't even be thinking about them anymore, right? So, if that's how you make your mark, then that's how you make your mark. All right, let's see what else we have in here. Barbarella saying, have they hinted at twist or comps? Have they said when we get a house tour? And Ma's saying next Monday. See, Ma's got it figured out. Or Ma's got some sources that I did a search before we even started the show. And I saw about the shortened season. And a lot of people were thinking there was going to be a house reveal today or cast reveal. And it didn't happen. But yeah, next Thursday, next Monday, those all seem to make sense of when we could see this stuff happening. I don't know. It's so it's tough to figure out now because of COVID, and do they have longer sequester because of that? And with the season starting just a little bit later than it normally does. So we're all up in the air a little bit. And CBS, unfortunately, hasn't been real forthcoming with their scheduling and everything, which kind of surprises me because we've got not only Big Brother, but we also have The Challenge. We've got 2 big reality shows on the same evening. And I would think they'd be putting out a lot more information on both of them to get us all pumped up. But they know we're waiting. They know we're sitting here on the edge of our seats waiting for this information. So they're going to keep teasing us as long as they can. It's all right. I'll keep waiting as long as I can as well. So we'll, Thursday through Monday, something like that seems pretty good. All right, what else do we have on here? Another question from last week. Chris had asked, how did Zingbot work? And I assume you mean, what did you see on TV versus what Zingbot was really like? Well, there's not that much difference. When Zingbot showed up, we were all sitting around and we heard this banging around and everything coming out of the diary room area. And all of a sudden the door opens and here comes Zingbot. And Zingbot sounds in real life a lot like you would expect a robot to sound like. There's a whole lot of clump, clump, clump. As Zingbot walks into the kitchen area for our season. The big difference is that Zingbot's voice, when we're on the show, you don't hear Zingbot's voice from Zingbot. You hear it from the overhead speakers. So it's the magic of TV and all of that. So, but but the voice sounds exactly the same. It's sent out exactly the same way. So all our responses were real. None of it was rehearsed or anything like that. It was exactly like you see it on TV, except for the fact that it wasn't actually coming from a Zingbot speaker inside the robot or whatever. But other than that, it's exactly the same. It's very little different on it. That was so cool to be in there. You feel like once Zingbot's there and you're getting roasted by Zingbot that you've made it. And I don't know that if I'd gone home the first week or two and never gotten a chance to get roasted by Zingbot, well, whatever. Yeah, it's still quite the experience. But to get to do so many different iconic things, just made it that much more special. So yeah, that's Zingbot. I want to volunteer. CBS, if you're watching this show and all that, call me. Let me help out with some of the roast. I've got some I think I could throw out there. I think I could have fun with them. I don't even know who the cast is, and I have a feeling I could come out with a few comments that would probably work pretty well in terms of Zingbot and all of that. So just call me. Oh, 7:31. All right, well, I'm doing a little bit better than I thought. I just had to get the old vocal cords going. Y'all know me. There's nothing that's going to keep me from talking and talking loud. Even COVID slows me down, but doesn't stop me completely. So I appreciate y'all bearing with me on that. Let's see. What else do we have on there? Let's say and then it starts up again. It's getting bad. I'm so excited about this season, though. It's it's going to be fun. I don't know how long I stared at that picture of Julie Chen looking up in the sky, trying to figure out what kind of clue she could be talking about for the coming up season. To the point that I did an image search with like Google Lens on her picture and discovered that the dress she's wearing is sold by some company that calls it like Vampire's Girlfriend is the name of this dress. And so I immediately thought, ooh, could it be like a nighttime scary theme or something like that? I don't know. If it is, you heard it here first. That's really stretching it. But, yeah, anything will do. All right, guys, that's going to have to do it. I try to go an hour, but I'm going to have to shut it down because you can tell, it's getting a little bit worse. So, guys, 9 more days till the season starts. Less than that, maybe just a couple of days until we get the house tour, the cast reveal. And once that happens, hopefully my voice is back. I'm probably going to do some kind of quick little preview recap of the cast or something. You know how I talked about how I hate people making snap assumptions about people and give them a week to play the game before you make all these decisions and everything else? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to take the cast reveal and I'll give you my first thought, my first impression on the house guest, hopefully. And then we'll see how many of them prove me right, prove me wrong. So it's going to be a great week and a half. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Monday. Have a fantastic rest of the week. My week will pick up. It can only get better, right? But until then, y'all have a great one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so because there's going to be a lot of stuff dropping here over the next 3.5 months or 3 months, I guess now, it's 82 days. A lot of Big Brother content we're going to be talking about. And I'm so excited. This is my perfect time of year. All right, guys, SKD143. Y'all have a fantastic week. I will be talking to y'all at some point later in this week, I'm sure. But until then, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye. This is miserable. I hate it. Bye, guys.